so many ways. The Pacific pulls us in to roam its hidden alleyways, shift our perspectives, breathe history, taste local flavors, and savor every moment. Let yourself be moved.
Reina Terror. 2, Harmadillo. 247, Miss Mishbehaven. 27, Carmen Dragon. 30, Rip. 37, Sunny Death Position. 45, Resident Weevil. 474, Hell Woods. 517, Freddie Hercury. 747, Hot Rod. 87, Kitty Creamer. 89, Pippi Longstompings. And 77, Bat Outta Hill.
And coming all the way from the United States to join us today, we have the Denver Roller Derby standbys. We have 02, Wes Slamderson, 028, Slam Track, 11, She Be Dangerous, 111, Royal Tenenbaum, 14, Green Machine, 1472, Yeety Bird, 165, Beholder, 2806, Brawny Darko, 315, Hysteria, 404, Smack Overflow, 412, Keeper of the Skate, 55, Misery Lizness, 631, Mads Kills, 7, Creature, 8, Jet Set, 847, L on Wheels, and our bench staff for the standbys is California.
And Mindfox, I apologize, your bench staff is GoldenEye and Pterodactyl. We want to give a huge thanks to all the officials who've traveled or come from the local league who are here today. Our first game is officiated by head ref Mass. Inside pack ref Otter Mayhem, jam refs PH Demon and Scary Bee Cheeses. Outside pack refs are Rolando Furioso, Noah Fallon, and Faffin' About.
And our wonderful non-skating officials helping us out with this game. We have the head NSO, Pushy Galora, Jam Timer, Bazooka Langley, penalty line trackers, Pushy Galora and Left on Red, scoreboard operator, V-Rex, scorekeepers, Slam It Janet and Koala Mella, penalty box manager, Mill Street Bruisery, and penalty box timers, Phil Hollywood and Babe. And we also might as well introduce ourselves for this game. My name is Punishment.
And I'm Fanny in the pack. The rolling whistle means we have 5 seconds to the game start. Announcers whistle, refs whistle a false start, but that individual has reset and allowed them to continue playing without penalty. Standby's jammer is 404. Smack overflow, pushing the front of the pack against 3 defensive red skaters. 1-9 Reign of Terror at the back against Denver's defense, and it's a bit of a guess who's lead jammer, but it is Mindfox with lead jammer status. Smack overflow out behind them rather quickly. It'll be a fight for who gets points, if any. Offense sent by Mindfox to try to score a few points before Reina calls it off, and Reina does pick up 2 points for that jam. So we've got a small lead off the hop with Mindfox 2 and Standboys not on the board yet.
And the Eves of Destruction wish to thank all of the outstanding sponsors that fund the gameplay you enjoy. As we tell you more about them today, consider if you too would like to help keep us rolling through 2026. Contact us at sponsorship@evesofdestruction.com.
Second jam starting quite defensively. A little bit of offense on the outside, but Standby's jammer still held up. Pushing at the front now against no elbows as the anchor. That tripod is sturdy and reforming quickly, so Creature is having difficulty getting through and is hit out on the outside line. 0-2. Armadillo, or Dill, is lead jammer for Mindfox, approaching the pack on their first scoring pass. Pack is spread out, a little dip on the outside line, and a quick call-off for 4 more points for Mindfox.
And one of our MVP sponsors this season is Parkway Physio. Reduce pain, improve mobility, and get back to what you love, which in this case is roller derby.
Lots of action in the pack with some offensive hits, and a very quick lead for Mindfox. 0, that's Fish, is lead jammer for Mindfox in Jam 3. L on Wheels 847 for Standbys, working the inside line. Lateral movement and the outside line helps them through the initial pass. Fish is continuing to score points. Got a penalty at the back of the pack. So first penalty for the game is Mindfox, who will spend 30 seconds in the box. That's Cutie Sly. Small advantage for Denver going into Jam 4.
Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z is the antidote to boring travel.
A back wall start and a tight pack means both jammers are fighting against solid walls. Standby's jammer is working quickly with fast feet, breaking up the Mindfox tripod. But it is 1-0 Slaying Mantis out front for Mindfox, as the jammer 5-5 Misery Lizness has pulled ahead and may force a call-off, and Slaying Mantis does make the call-off to hold Denver to no points that jam. Going into Jam 5, we have Denver Standbys not on the board yet, Mindfox with 8, so still a tight game within the first 5 minutes.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road, or we've got them in the Beverage Garden tonight.
Reign of Terror on the track for Mindfox again. Spinning move on the outside line, and gets a quick lead jammer. Takes a little spill, but picks up quickly to head out on their first scoring pass. Helmet cover comes off, but no pivot on the track, so Jammer stays Jammer. That's Yeety Bird, or Birdie, chasing down Mindfox's Jammer in hopes of preventing some points, but Reina is scoring. Picks up a not on the track point or 2, and a total of 4 points for that Jam, bringing their score to 12.
The Zone at 91.3, proud sponsors of the Eves of Destruction. The Zone is a radio station made for you by real people right here in Victoria.
Both teams are already seeing their Jammer rotations come around at the start again. Smack Overflow with the Denver's first lead, 4-0-4 Smack Overflow quickly on the inside line past Mindfox's defense. Number 2, Dill is out on their initial pass and ready to score. Smack Overflow working hard to pick up those 4 points, calling the Jam off before Dill can make it to the back of the pack. First 4 points for Denver now on the board, 4 for standbys and 12 for Mindfox.
Hazel's Ice Cream, a family dream of ice cream. You can visit them at many local farmers markets and events over the summer. Second jam for both Elle on Wheels and Fish. Jam whistle goes, and there's a bit of an opening on the outside line for Fish, but they are denied. Beautiful line work, toe stops and wheels by Fish to get lead jammer for Mindfox, as Denver is recycled to the back. Elle on Wheels still fighting for initial. Only 3 blockers on the track for each team right now, so not a lot of offense taking place. Jammers will have to work on their own to get past these difficult tripods. Standbys now has 4 blockers on the track, giving them a small advantage as Mindfox scores their first 4 points this jam. We have a star pass to Pivot, who has now been called on a forearm. So we have our first power jam of the game. This is for Fish. We'll see what kind of energy Fish can bring to their first power jam. Pivot communicating at the back, the plan for Mindfox. And Fish is easily through the pack for another 4 points with 50 seconds left on the jam, and Denver's still in the box. Denver's also down 1 blocker, so they've got a little bit of a disadvantage. And be sure to visit Faded Hearts Bookstore in our own vendor village, run by our very own Skylord.
This jam starts with standby's jammer frozen in the box, an advantage for Mindfox. Last jam saw our first multiple scoring pass jam, opening up the gap between these 2 teams. Slaying Mantis with a fast lead jammer just as Beholder returns to the track for Denver. Unfortunately, spilling in the middle of the pack gives Mindfox an opportunity to recycle and maintain that no initial. Lots of physical strength from standbys at the back of the pack, preventing Slaying Mantis from making any further progress. My notes here says Slaying Mantis is also known as Manny, so we'll use that nickname going forward. Number 1-1 Pivot for standbys now in the box with still no initial for Beholder, as Manny makes their first scoring pass and posts another 4 points to the board for Mindfox, opening that spread up 32-4. An attempt at the apex and a drawback sees jammer from Mindfox. Manny with the first jammer penalty of the game for Mindfox, so now power jam goes to Denver standbys. Their first real scoring opportunity, having not had too many leads so far this game. Beholder is hit to the outside line and down, but farther up and recycled to the back. Looking for offensive help. The helmet cover is off and passed to Denver's pivot and now in scoring position with 16 seconds remaining in the jam to take advantage of that scoring status. Manny's back on the track and eligible to score, so Denver will have to work at defense and offense to really maximize this jam.
Our amazing crew of dedicated officials is one of the Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. From non-skating officials to on-skate officials, they make it possible for us to enjoy the sport we love so much. Speak to any official or EOD member to find out how you too could be part of this awesome crew.
Standbys are calling the first time out of this game. Little opportunity to provide you with some stats from the game. So the last jam we just saw was the first jam in which both teams scored. Sometimes a power jam scenario, we'll see that happen. One jammer gets lead, scores some points, heads to the box, and the next jammer then gets the opportunity to score. Little timeout to refresh the standbys' energy. You might see them with a little bit more to give on the track coming into the next jam, which will be jam 9. In case you hadn't caught on, there is a theme today, which is monochromatic dress. So you might notice there's some solid pinks, solid yellows, solid purples, blues. I'll just keep saying colors. So yeah, if you have a nice solid outfit to put on when you're back at your car or in your change room, let's see those amazing bout fits, as we call them. Into jam 9, and Mindfox fighting for lead at the front. Denver is recycling strong and does push Reign of Terror to the outside line. Not a long drawback though, but Creature does take the opportunity to establish lead jammer status and is out the front and ready to score. Reina is only about 25 feet behind, so Creature has just a few moments to try to do something with this lead jammer status. Denver working for the front, attempting to get some points. Creature not calling. Creature is calling. Does come into the pack and does come away successful with 1 point, holding Mindfox to no points on that jam. Standbys now at 8 points.
Get amongst the games this Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Roll a Skater Bocce Game. Grab your ticket to partake at the Hardcore's craft table or stick around to watch the fun for free.
Misery Lizness jamming for standbys. Fast feet at the front is breaking up that tripod. Establishes lead jammer due to out of play at the front. Does go down and out of bounds at the front, but so does Mindfox's blocker. Lead was already established, so now in scoring position and in a power jam. Denver's turn to try that offense and maximize their point scoring opportunities. Misery Lizness is now putting up 4 points for Denver and eligible to score on a second scoring pass. Mindfox changes up the defense a little bit, putting a blocker in at the back of the pack. A little bit rare during a power jam scenario, but it's successful as Misery Lizness is pushed to the inside and recycled back. Dill is now out of the box and on initial. Pushed to the outside by the pivot. No pass, no penalty means they did get their initial and were able to run, but standbys call off that jam and hold Mindfox to 34. That was a 7-point jam for standbys. Really nice work on the power play.
Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients, and they will be on site tomorrow. Birdie jamming for Denver standbys.
Fish for Mindfox is lead very quickly on the inside line. Fish has had a lot of success so far jamming for Mindfox. Star passed to 0-2-8, I believe. And we now have a bit of a jammer race. Fish does have time to make use of this lead jammer status before Slam Track catches up. Passes that foremost blocker to collect all 4 points before calling it off, adding 4 points to the score. 38 now for Mindfox.
A huge thank you to Roller Girl for sponsoring the Capital City Chaos Tournament MVP prize. You can vote for the tournament MVP using the QR codes posted throughout the arena.
Very scrum-like start this jam, and that smack overflow lead jammer for standbys. Manny is out about a half a lap behind. Smack is looking to score on those rearmost blockers for Mindfox. Big hit to red blocker, sits that blocker down and taps the hips to call it off. That is 4 points for standbys. So they're now sitting at 19 and definitely back in this game.
Drop into Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear.
Reina, a frequent jammer for Mindfox in this first half. On the track again, finds the inside line as Creature was really pushing for lead jammer. Unfortunately, Mindfox defense was just solid enough to contain them. They're still holding and no initial pass for standbys yet. Reina in scoring position, flips her hips to the outside line. Definitely scoring points at this point, but is recycled outside. Solid toe stop work staying on the inside line, and Reina is out of the pack with 4 more points for Saskatoon. Creature held up by the tripod at the front, possibly looking for some offense, but blocker penalties have kept standbys down a skater frequently during this game, and they've had to play pretty solid defense. Reina's posted another 4 points to the board for Mindfox, as standboys are still held to their initial pass. That might be our first apex jump of the game, our first successful one. That's Reina Terror with 12 points this jam. That's a star pass on the outside line to Denver's Pivot. Hersteria, number 315, fighting those remaining 2 blockers at the front of Mindfox. And with 16 points in that jam, Reina Terror has posted the highest scoring jam of this half in this game so far. Standbys are held to 19 points, Mindfox 54 on the board now.
Proudly Canadian, Cloverdale Paints delivers high-performance paints, coatings, and color systems. Check out their new location in Souk.
That's Dill on the board as lead jammer for Mindfox. Denver's jammer recycled to the back. Referees nod that they were in, so there was a no pass, no penalty situation there. 847 is now out. That's L on wheels. Eligible to score for standbys. Reina is out of the front of the pack with 4 points, calling it off and holding standbys to 0 on that jam.
And right now we're looking at a score of 19 points for the standbys and 58 for Mindfox.
Penalties can certainly play a role in success on the track. We have 2, 4, 6, 7 penalties for Mindfox so far this game. 2, 4, 6, 8 penalties for standbys. Makes a bit of a difference. It's not easy to throw offense for your team when you're down a skater or 2 in the box. There's definitely been several power jams that have allowed Mindfox to take advantage as well.
And while we're in this official review, we would like to give a huge shout out to, I think the only photographer we have hanging out right now. We have Ultraviolet of Cherry Bomb Photography out there taking some pics. We look forward to seeing the greatest hits through your work.
For anyone new to roller derby, each team is allowed an official review per half. They can enter into the center and chat out with the refs what they think should have been called or should not have been called. If they're successful and a penalty is either awarded or rescinded, then they can retain their official review and make another request in the same half. If their review is denied, they will lose their official review for that half and they won't regain one until the next half begins.
We'll also take this moment to give a huge shout out to our friends at St. John Ambulance for being here on site and making sure all of our skaters stay safe.
We'll go to the center of a track for this official review result.
Saskatoon is looking for a skating out of bounds call on the white jammer from the last jam.
All right. Big thanks to our officials for taking the time to review that request. This is a Mindfox official review, and we will hear back from the officials in a moment as to whether or not that cut will be awarded. Doesn't feel like an award, does it?
After review, the no call will stand and Saskatoon will not retain the review for the first period. Thank you.
We'll get right back to the roller derby. So yes, Mindfox has lost the official review, given that the referees have decided that no cut occurred. Official review allows everybody to refresh though, so we'll see some fresh legs on the track. Lots of big hits coming up. Misery, Lizness, and Fish on the jam line. A little slow start to the jam. We're moving backwards on the track. A little bit of a risk there for non-direction penalties. A forearm being called to Mindfox jammers, so standbys with a nice opportunity to score some points. Lead is quickly established after that forearm call. Misery, Lizness is lead jammer for Denver standbys. QD Sly being held by Denver at the back. That's 1 point. 2 points if there's a blocker in the box, which there was, so that's a way to pick up some points. But that pass is completed, and Denver standbys have put up 4 points at the start of this power jam. Heading into the pack to score again. They're making quick work of the defense with fast feet and have totaled 8 points on that power jam. Fish has returned to the track and is very quick to get that initial pass, hoping to deny another scoring pass for standbys. Little tumble and a quick call off, and standbys have decided that is it for this opportunity. They do grab 3 more points for another 11. Their total score stands now at 30. Mindfox at 58.
Greater Victoria Sports Tourism Commission, fueled by the support of over 50 business members and municipalities, is dedicated to enhancing the region's sporting event landscape. Their mission is to seamlessly blend sport hosting with tourism marketing, drawing major sporting events to Greater Victoria that benefit the entire community.
That's Mish behaving with the long run back on smack overflow, hoping to use that to get their jammer out, but another recycle means that Manny is pulled to the back of the pack. Neither jammer out with their initial at this time. Strong tripod work at the front, but Smack Overflow, who already got lead jammer status, is now out on their first scoring pass. High block called in the pack to Mindfox jammer, and that's another power jam for standbys. An attempt at an apex jump does land Smack Overflow at the back of the pack. Good job recycling by Mindfox blockers. A little duo at the back of the pack blocking. But unfortunately, a little too much contact there because 8-9 Hippie Long Stompings is heading to the box on a multiplayer penalty. Smack Overflow is still trying to finish off that first scoring pass. Comes out the front of the pack on the inside line and does put up some points for standbys. All 4 points picked up. Manny is out of the box and an apex jump to establish that initial pass. And Smack has said no more, calls the jam off. Just waiting for the points from that jam. Mindfox held to 0. Standbys with 0 points on that last pass, so 4 overall on that power jam. 34 standbys, 58 Mindfox.
Laugh it up at the Heckler's Bar and Grill after party when the games end on Sunday.
Mindfox pivot starting in the box, only 3 defenders for Mindfox. L on Wheels hoping to take advantage. Solid 4 defense for Denver at the back of the pack. So no offense coming at this time for L on Wheels. Still fighting for lead at the front. 2 blockers left to push. No pack called and reformed quickly, so blockers continue blocking. But L on Wheels does push past that final set of Mindfox blockers with lead jammer status. Reign of Terror is out on the initial with L on Wheels scoring, passing at least 1 blocker before calling off the jam. So L did pass that rearmost blocker and 1 other blocker in that tripod at the front for 2 points that jam. Standby is having a nice little run of points here late in the first half.
Parkway Physio, reduce pain, improve mobility, and get back to what you love.
Doesn't seem like we've had many jam starts where there hasn't been a blocker for either team in the penalty box, so lots of starts with no offense on the track. That's some serious fight from Misery Lizness at the front of the pack, but they do get pushed to the outside line and drawn back. So we've got a bit of a switcheroo because now it's number 2 for Mindfox fighting for lead at the front. That's Dill. Seems as we move through this game, the blockers are blocking those jammers longer and longer, and it's taking a bit of time for lead jammer to be established. Could be blockers settling in, or it could be jammer legs getting tired, but Dill is now in scoring position, able to slip by a big pile up at the back of the pack, collects all 4 points and calls the jam off. 62 now for Mindfox. Standbys held at 36.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby in Esquimalt on Viewfield Road or on site here tonight in our beverage garden.
I just had to say something about the penalties, and now we've got a full track of blockers out there, 4-on-4 blockers, 2 jammers, and an outside line lead jammer status established by Fish for Mindfox. Denver sweeping on the outside to loosen up that pack for Smack Overflow, who's now through on their initial pass. Fish has made a quick pass with 4 points. Opting not to call it off at the moment, waiting for coach's signal, making me a liar, and does call it off 4-0.
A big thank you to Roller Girl for sponsoring the Capital City Chaos Tournament MVP prize. You can vote for the tournament MVP by using the QR codes posted throughout the arena.
minutes left in this first half, and that's a very nice lead status for standbys. Elle on Wheels out with lots of time for points before Manny comes out the inside line for an initial pass. Loving that outside line. Elle on Wheels is collecting points. Bump to the outside, hits the hips to call it off. Pretty stoked about those points. 3 on the board for that jam. 39 total for standbys, and Mindfox held at 66.
Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z is the antidote to boring travel.
Reina Terror on the jam line for Mindfox. Little note about Reina is that this skater was a former junior skater before moving up to WFTDA. All that junior experience seems to be a huge benefit, as Reina Terror is now lead jammer for Mindfox. Jammer run back to the back of the pack for standbys. Helmet cover off, so potential for a star pass, but Reina Terror hit to the outside, decides to call that one off.
Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients.
Mindfox taking advantage of their first time out of this game. Gives us a little time to do some penalty check-ins, so I will add those up and let you know shortly where we stand. So the penalties have basically evened out for the game. 11 penalties for Mindfox, standbys with 10. Nobody in danger of fouling out or even close to that point at this time in the game. There's 3 penalties for number 27 for Mindfox. Everyone else is 2 or fewer. So pretty clean play, as much as I've said that there's always been someone in the box. It's always someone new.
And a huge thank you to Honey Kruller for making sure that tape stays down on that track.
Pivot for Mindfox in the box at the start of this jam, so a little bit of a reduced defense. Misery Laziness on the outside line, trying to make work of the pack, but 2-4 for Mindfox with a short run back. Only a brief hold, though. Laziness is now out of the pack with initial and lead jammer status. Dill has completed their initial pass. Misery with an apex hop on the inside line. Fast feed around a couple of Mindfox blockers and a quick call off for 4 more points for standbys.
And a huge thank you to one of our tournament sponsors, Roll Focus, for giving us some massively excellent production value for our streaming of the tournament. If you got friends and family that can't be here, be sure to check out the stream on our YouTube channel.
Saskatoon is the higher seed team in this game. So Denver's doing a great job staying close. This is not a big score differential at a halftime. But in the WFTDA stats, or the WFTDA stats, Saskatoon is in 41st and Denver 42, so not a lot of space between these two teams in rankings, so we can expect this to be a solid fight all the way through the game. Fish is lead jammer for Mindfox at this time and putting up 4 points on that first scoring pass. Smack held to no initial before passing the star off to their pivot, who's fighting two Mindfox blockers at the front of the pack now. That's Rip. Pivot number 2-7, Carmen Dragon. So the pivot turn jammer is Hersteria, who I believe has taken one star pass earlier in this game, fighting a really challenging tripod at the front, almost not moving, but as long as those blockers keep their feet going, they are allowed to block. Fish fighting against defense on the inside line, tapped out of bounds and recycled back. Hersteria with the initial pass, so Mindfox decides to call off the jam there. 4 more points, 78 for Mindfox. Standbys with a respectable 43. Again, definitely in this game, 78-43 is not a large point spread. Looks like we've probably got one jam left if that clock lines up. I'm not quite sure how to read this right now. Oh, we got time, we got time. Beautiful lead on the inside line for Elle on Wheels. Denver with the last lead jammer opportunity of this half. Lots of attempts at offense to get Manny out of the pack for Mindfox, but Manny's recycled to the back. Does strip the helmet cover off. Pivot for Mindfox, trying to work offense at the back of the pack to get Manny out. Successful with that. Manny's passing on the outside line for initial pass, and now in scoring eligibility status. Pretty big hit to the outside line, and Elle on Wheels calls that jam off, ending our half with 4 more points for standbys. So score at halftime is standbys 47, Mindfox 78. We'll see you back in about 10 minutes.
All right, Derby fans, let's get ready for the second half of this bout. We do have some fun facts from the first half, such as Mindfox has gotten a lead 14 times, and they have a 4-jammer rotation that has not been interrupted.
First jam of the second half. Dill jamming for Mindfox. Birdie for standbys. Tough fight at the front. It was anybody's guess for a moment there who would be out as lead, but we have Dill lead for Mindfox. Birdie not far behind.
Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients.
First points on the board for the second half by Mindfox. That was a 3-point jam, so called off slightly before that first scoring pass could be completed. Great job on standby's part to get their jammer out, chasing down the other team's jammer. L on Wheels and official mascot on the jam line, and out in turn 2 is Fish for Mindfox. One of the jammers in that very regular rotation Mint was just telling you about. Fish now on their first scoring pass for this jam, while L on Wheels is still caught up in the defense of Mindfox on their initial pass. A little bit of one-on-one by 1-1 at the back of the pack for Denver standby, giving lots of trouble to Fish, who does scooch around with a side serve to be met only with the difficult tripod of Denver. 4 blockers on defense for Denver. Fish facing a pretty difficult situation, still trying to pick up all 4 points on their first scoring pass, as we see a star pass off the She Be Dangerous. Now, first star pass to She Be Dangerous of the game, I believe. And a forced call off. Mindfox did pick up all 4 points in spite of that difficult defense put out by Denver. Each individual point represents one opposing blocker's hips. So you don't necessarily have to make it out the front of the pack to collect all 4 points. Just have to pass those hips. Manny on the track for Mindfox. Misery Listeness, the highest scoring jammer for the first half, I believe, for Denver. Hit to the outside though and recycled, giving the opportunity to Mindfox to get lead jammer, and it is Manny out first with the jammer status. No, I was wrong about that. Misery Listeness did get lead jammer status called before being recycled, and did have the chance to call off the jam before Mindfox could put any points on the board that time.
Drop into Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best selections of skateboards and gear.
Smack overflow for standbys on the jam line. Mindfox, though, with incredible toe stop work by Fish. Nearly out the front of the pack, but is recycled by Denver's pivot. Now Denver puts up a little 2-all at the back, guiding Fish into 0-2. Wes Slammerson. Fish is hit to the inside line and recycled to the back of the pack. So far, no lead jammer. No pack is called. A bridge sent back to keep Mindfox in play, just as Mindfox pulls smack overflow to the back of the pack, recycling them yet again, preventing lead jammer status for another few seconds. Almost a minute-long hold for both teams before Fish escapes with lead jammer status. Smack facing off against 2 blockers for Mindfox at the front. Does have that helmet cover off, but Pivot is back doing defense for Denver at the moment, so no star pass to be seen at this time. Smack really caught up in the two blockers at the front. Mindfox has some steady defense, holding them to the outside line in turn 3. But Smack does have some great toe stop work and escapes that defense on the inside line for the initial pass, threatening a call off. Fish does make the call off, closing out that jam with only 3 points for Mindfox. So not a complete scoring pass, but does open that gap a little bit wider. 88 for Mindfox. Standbys held to 47 points.
Proudly Canadian, Cloverdale Paint delivers high-performance paints, coatings, and color systems.
Fewer penalties this half so far. 5 minutes in already, and we've got a full complement of blockers on the track, 2 jammers, and the entire game of Derby happening before you. Pack is front with 4 blockers. Mindfox fighting against L on wheels, but L makes quick work of that defense for lead jammer status, as Dill, still fighting for her initial pass, escapes in turn 1. Anytime I mention a penalty, that whistle's gonna go. So we've got 2-4-7 for Mindfox in the box now. I didn't see what that call was. Jam whistle dead, with Harm approaching on her first scoring pass of that jam. Standbys get 4 points overall, bringing their score to 51.
Come laugh it up with the teams at Heckler's Bar and Grill for the after party. Join us on Sunday after the games end.
Manny for Mindfox, Lizness for standbys, 4 blockers for Denver, and a quick lead jammer status for Lizness. 3 blockers for Mindfox, and Manny is working hard to get that initial. Does keep those wheels inbounds to escape the pack on the outside line. Lizness in scoring position, does pass some hips before falling to the ground. Finishes that pass, taps the hips, and collects 4 points for Denver, freezing out Mindfox, holding them at 88.
And the Ease of Destruction wish to thank all of the outstanding sponsors that fund the gameplay you enjoy. As we tell you more about them throughout this tournament, consider if you too would like to help keep us rolling through 2026. Contact us at sponsorship@eavesofdestruction.com.
Denver is starting that jam with some split offense-defense setup. They do roll back into a tripod and surprise Mindfox with a bit of offense off the whistle. Lead jammer is awarded to Fish, with Edie Bird on their tail. Pack skaters fighting for advantage in hopes of putting some points at the back of the pack for their jammers, but that jam is called off 0-0. Jammers were too close for comfort.
Parkway Physio, reduce pain, improve mobility, and get back to what you love.
Smack overflow, jamming for standbys. 1 skater to beat at the front. But pivot, Carmen is giving them as much trouble as possible. Smack does get lead jammer status. Star pass attempt to 2-7. The pivot for Mindfox. That star pass was waved off as Carmen did pick up a penalty before that pass was cleanly made. A little bit of a win there in terms of not having a jammer penalty off the hop on the jam there. Armadillo fighting furiously at the back of the pack against Denver's defense. Denver is often using 4 skaters as defense this game. Smack overflow, making it clear that offense isn't necessary. I can just hit my way through the pack. Taking advantage of that lap to catch their breath. Smack Overflow approaching for another scoring pass. Denver's bench sending a clear message to pick up points and call, which Smack does. That was a really big jam for Denver. 12 points on the board, closing that score to 21 points difference.
And a huge thank you to one of our Capital City Chaos tournament sponsors, Airbnb. Thank you for supporting Roller Derby.
I mentioned earlier in the first half that we have some skaters on both teams who previously skated as junior skaters for their respective league. When a skater turns of age, they can join their adult team, and skaters who have previously skated for junior teams that we are aware of: Reina Terror, Sunny Death Position, whose names I love, Hell's Bell, and on standbys Beholder. Junior programs are amazing. They develop incredible skaters who then try to come and take my spot on a roster.
But not my spot. I don't have to worry about that because I don't skate.
The Eves have a really incredible junior program, and the charter program that you'll see here this weekend have a number of aged up junior skaters who are an absolute privilege to watch. So we hope you stick around to watch some of the home team games as well as the guests. Back to Denver and Saskatoon for Mindfox. Manny on the line for standbys L on wheels. All 8 blockers on the track. L on wheels, fast footwork up the outside line for lead jammer status. Manny also out quickly. We have had so many of these one jammer out after the other jams this game. It's kept the score quite low, as we see a lot of 4 points and call it off, 3 points and call it off scenarios. Standbys do call that jam off to prevent Mindfox from scoring and put up 2 points on the board. 69 for standbys, 88 for Mindfox at this point in the game.
The Zone at 91.3, proud sponsors of the Eves of Destruction. The Zone is a radio station made for you by real people right here in Victoria.
Misery Lizness doesn't even give me a chance to announce the jammers before they're out with e-jammer status. Again, we've got a quick jammer initial pass by Fish. Both jammers in scoring position. Lizness trying to pick up as many points as possible before Fish has the opportunity to score. They do call off that jam with some points in their pocket. We'll see what the refs say. It's hard to see from here, but the refs say 1 point earned on that pass.
Get amongst the games this Saturday at 2 p.m. for roller skater bocce. Grab your tickets to partake at the hardcore craft table or stick around and watch the fun for free.
Yeedy bird jamming for standbys on the outside line, putting pressure on Mindfox defense. Really fast and aggressive footwork at the front, breaking up the blockers from Mindfox, down to 2 defensive players at the front, dropping shoulders into 1-5. Mindfox does the best they can spreading that defense out, but pushed to the very limit of play. Birdie is lead jammer this jam for standbys and now eligible to score. 2-4-7 for Mindfox, leading Birdie into her defense and does hit them out of bounds. Star pass to 8-9, and your jammer for Mindfox is now Pippi Long Stompings. Standby's bench incredibly happy with the performance by Yeedy Bird that jam, picking up 4 points and calling it off before Mindfox can follow up with any points.
And a huge thank you to Roll Focus for making our tournament stream this weekend incredible.
Standbys have done a great job this half in closing that score gap. They now stand at 74 points with Smack Overflow jamming with beautiful toe stop hop work along the inside line for lead jammer status. 14 points difference between these two teams in jam 12, and not impossible to close that gap in one jam if that jammer is held to no initial. But the scenarios, I imagine, never come true. Manny is out on their initial pass, forcing a call off by Denver, and Standbys checking on Standbys points. PH Demon is conferring with Furious Fath about whose hips were passed before the fourth whistle went.
And a little fun fact from our producer Regrettal that was 5 lead jams in a row.
So we did get 3 points for Standbys on that jam, and now we're down to just an 11-point difference. Half of this half remaining, 15, close to 16 minutes to see how this comes to an end. Lots of action on the track before the whistle even goes. Elle on Wheels out with lead jammer for Denver Standbys, making that 6th lead jammer status in a row for Denver, and that is a big part of the reason the score is closing so quickly during the second half. Fish had some incredible hopping toe stop work on the inside line for their initial pass, but not gonna get a chance to score. Elle on Wheels is gonna grab the 3 points already captured and prevent Mindfox from scoring any further. So they now stand at 80 points to 88. Only an 8-point difference and lots of time to see our first lead change of the game.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume at Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio in Esquimalt or on site in our beverage garden.
Misery Lizness for Denver on the jam line. Armadillo with a very quick initial pass, lead jammer status achieved, and Lizness on their tail. We may or may not see any points put up from either team this jam. That's a very fast pack. Reminds me of 2011 when I started playing roller derby. Nobody skating backwards, nobody putting on the brakes, and the jammers are skating hard to catch up to the pack. Dill does get to the pack first, attempts to pass some hips, calls the jam off. Unfortunately, is being whistled to the penalty box. I'm guessing that was due to skating out of bounds on the call off, but I'm not certain what the call was there. This is gonna put Standbys in a power jam scenario with Birdie as their jammer. No, we got a swap. We've got Smack Overflow as the jammer for Standbys. Mindfox well positioned at the front with 2 blockers, drawing Smack to the back of the pack. Again, 2 blockers at the front. They're splitting up the defense for Mindfox, making it a little bit more difficult for Smack Overflow to make a plan, but spin work on the inside line gives Smack lead jammer status partway through the power jam. Denver trying to hold some points at the back for their jammer. Multiplayer block being whistled to number 8 from standby. The pack really spread out on the track as Smack Overflow makes their first scoring pass, collects 4 points for standbys. Going into the halftime of this game, Mindfox had a 31-point lead on standbys, so standbys have really been picking away at that gap. 4-point difference is only a jam, so there's definitely some opportunity for standbys to take the lead of this game, but Mindfox has put out a lot of really solid defense, and their jammers have been extremely clean and solid on the lines. Manny working those lines now against Geedy Bird from Denver, who's also had a lot of success this game. Fighting hard against Mindfox's solid tripod at the front, does break one skater off, manages to stay in bounds, and does get lead jammer status for Denver standbys, and now in position to close that gap even further. And that's a power jam. Manny to the box for Mindfox means Birdie is on their own scoring for 30 full seconds. Mindfox doing their best to defend points at the front of the pack, drives Birdie to the inside. Birdie resets quickly though and is not hauled to the back of the pack, still able to press forward against the 2 blockers at the front for Mindfox. Carmen joins the defense at the front of the pack. Tripod at the front really fighting against the physically strong Birdie, who does push through, passing on the inside line, and closes that gap to 0. We now have a tied game, 88-88. Denver really fighting hard to hold on to this game. Mindfox now back on the track with a jammer, Manny, looking for initial pass. All of our blockers piled up tight on turn 4. But Birdie is out again, and that is this game's first official lead change. Denver standbys take the lead with 92 points to Mindfox 88. Manny is out on their initial pass, eligible to score. We'll see what choices Birdie makes with that lead jammer status. Birdie does call the jam off after collecting a couple more points for Denver. 3 more points on the board, an 11-point jam in favor of Denver standbys, and the total score now 95 in favor of Denver standbys. Mindfox held to 88 points.
And a massive thank you to one of our incredible tournament sponsors, the Greater Victoria Sport Tourism Commission. Fueled by the support of over 50 business members and municipalities, it's dedicated to enhancing the region's local sporting landscape. Their mission is to seamlessly blend sport hosting with tourism marketing, drawing major sporting events to Greater Victoria.
we'll just take a moment to say thank you to our medics who attend our events and really make things possible for us. We cannot skate if we don't have someone to attend to injuries or just ensure overall safety to the game. We will have to wait to resume the game until we have medics available. We do have to have eyes on the track at all times. But again, medics, we really appreciate the time that you take out of your lives to come help us. We hope that you enjoy the roller derby while you're here, because we sure enjoy having you.
And while we have this official timeout happening, we would actually love to give a huge hello and welcome and thank you to everybody tuning in to our live stream. We can't see you, but know that we love you and we appreciate you supporting roller derby.
Took almost 5/6 of this game, but we finally have dancing breaking out on the track. Thank you, Denver, for leading us in this old school moment. Dancing on the roller derby tracks, very old school, because I'm old school. All right, Jam 18 starting off power jam for Misery Lisness and the Denver Standbys. No pack called, and Lisness out on the inside line with an initial pass for Denver. Carmen being released from the penalty box for Mindfox to reform with that defense. A little bit of sass from Carmen. Must have a little friendly rivalry with one of the Denver skaters. 4 points for Denver on that pass, bringing their score to 99. Pretty rare to not have hit the century mark for either team at this point in the game. But Standboys have definitely done that now, considering Lisness is in the pack and scoring on Mindfox defense. Big stretched out pack by Green at the back for Denver, keeping Fish contained. Tripod working really hard. Denver's defense has come together so solidly in the second half of the game. A huge contributing factor to their lead that they've now established and stretched to 11 points. 15 points, we'll say, because that's 4 more points for Standbys, and they have cleared the century mark. 103 on the board. Fish still fighting for initial pass at the back of the pack for Mindfox. Denver's defense just too solid at this point. Another drawback to the inside line. And again to the outside line. But we do have a penalty being whistled to the back of the pack. Forearm called on one of Denver's dancing skaters from earlier at the start of this jam. Fish has some success on the inside line for Mindfox's initial pass, threatening to force a call off by Lisness. Lisness is on their 4th scoring pass this jam though, and might choose to keep things going. No, that's a call off by Lisness. Denver Standbys have a massive 15-point jam. 15-point jam to Mindfox, 2 points, with a total score now at 110 for Standbys to Mindfox's 90. So that 30-point spread is now in favor of Denver.
Hazel's Ice Cream, a family dream of ice cream. Visit their bike cart around town for local handmade ice cream bars.
Mindfox with solid defense at the front, but is broken up by Yeedy Bird, who gets lead jammer status for Denver. Huge hit to the inside line by Denver 028. Reina takes a little extra time to get up and back into play, but has all that energy needed to push hard against that tripod. 247 providing solid offense for Reina, opening up the outside path. Reina's still fighting Denver blockers though, because they're just recycling every time a skater is passed. Reina is fighting so hard, but does get knocked to the outside line and to the floor. 0-2-8 with all of the big hits, but does get whistled off the track for, I did not catch what that penalty was, but Denver down a blocker on the track now. Reina Terror out of the pack, considered the star pass, but did find a way through on her own. Yeedy Bird calls off the jam before Reina can pick up any points. That's another big jam for standbys. 11 more points added to their total score.
Our amazing crew of dedicated officials is one of the Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. From non-skating officials to on-skates officials, they make it possible for us to enjoy the sport we love so much. Speak to any official or EOD member to find out how you too could be part of this awesome crew.
I think I did some math wrong a little earlier. I think I said standbys had a 30-point lead, but they've just stretched over the 30-point lead mark now. 121 for standbys to Mindfox, 90 points. Lots of consistent lead jammer statuses for standbys contributing to that, as well as just really intense defense and big hits to the lines, drawing Mindfox jammers back, keeping them from getting lead jammer status, and just kind of tiring them out overall, I think. Elle on Wheels has been a force for Denver this second half. Not lead jammer this time though. Carmen Dragon's first time out as jammer for Mindfox and gets lead jammer status. I believe Carmen's been in the derby world for a number of years. I think I remember them from a tournament in Edmonton at least a decade ago. Now scoring 4 points on the board, hitting the back of the pack for some points. Calls a jam off as Elle on Wheels approaches the back of the pack and collects 2 points for Mindfox.
Thank you to Rollergoer for sponsoring the Capital City Chaos Tournament MVP prize. You can vote for the tournament MVP using the QR codes posted around the arenas.
Smack overflow back on the track for Denver in this 20th jam. Manny for Mindfox. Smack picks up lead jammer status, but is hit to the inside line and takes the safe path of recycling to the back of the path before heading out to score some points. Pivot for Denver with some offense to the inside, but Smack takes the outside line, unfortunately does go to bounds and is reset to the back of the pack. Manny is fighting hard at the front for initial pass. And Smack, who has lead jammer status, is caught up by Mindfox tripod at the back. Looking to their teammates for some potential offense, which comes back in the form of 0-2-8 slam track. Smack calls off the jam. Only one scoring pass that round, and looks like a 0-0 jam, so excellent work to Mindfox, preventing any points even though Smack was on a scoring pass.
Drop in at Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear.
Mindfox with one blocker in the box at the start of this jam, but Fish is just running along the outside line as if there were no blockers there whatsoever. Not Lead Jammer, though, because Lead Jammer has been awarded to Lisness, who's still caught up in Mindfox's defense. Lisness calls off the jam because Fish was just about to score. And I do think we had one penalty issued at the end of that jam. Let's see if anybody shows up in the box before the start of this next one. Yeah, it was 7-4-7. I think it was a forearm on the outside just as the jam was being called off.
Visit Faded Hearts bookstore in our vendor village all weekend.
Mindfox using Carmen Dragon as jammer again this jam. Carmen has been pivot largely this game, but this is their second jam out and is lead for a second time. L on Wheels hit to the outside, but that hit was put out of, that blocker was out of bounds as well, so no pass, no penalty for L on Wheels, who's now on their initial. Carmen trying to sneak their hips past as many skaters as possible. Right to the very end of that jam as they tap their hips to call it off. They did put 3 on the board, and Mindfox now has 99 points to Standby's 122. We've only got 2 minutes and change left on the clock, so little time to do the work needed to close that gap, but stranger things have happened. Lisness with the intensity on the inside line gains lead jammer status for standbys. 0 Fish on the outside line, tapped out by Denver's defense. Lisness doing a great job keeping that momentum even as they're being knocked down by Mindfox's defense. Still moving along the track, crawling and running to get back up. Fish on initial pass, leaving Lisness the choice to either keep scoring or call off the jam. Lisness takes a knee on the inside line due to that massive defense from Mindfox, calls off the jam, collects 4 points on that first scoring pass, and shuts Mindfox out to hold them at 99 points.
Parkway Physio. Reduce pain, improve mobility, and get back to what you love.
Under a minute left on the period clock, so quite possibly our last jam of the game. Slaying Mantis for Mindfox has lead jammer status within the first few seconds of that jam. So now in position to score as L on Wheels is held up at the back of the pack by Mindfox defense. Mantis is now in position to score, but is stuck at the back of Denver's tripod. Past at least a set of hips there, and bench is yelling to call it off, and Manny does call it off to end that jam with enough time for one more jam on the clock. We'll see if the Mindfox decide to call that. Yeah, so Mindfox has called a timeout before the half has ended. That will freeze the period clock, allowing Mindfox one more jam. And their goal here will be to get lead jammer and collect as many points. 27-point difference at this point. 27-point jams do happen. But probably more importantly, at this time, they're going to look to put as many points against standbys in protection of their ranking in our WFTDA standings.
And it should be mentioned that right now, the ranking difference between these two teams is only 1 point.
With only 4 seconds left on the period clock, this will be our final jam. So if you're in the audience, feel free to do as much cheering, get as rowdy as you want to. If you're at home on your couch, you can do the same thing. Just make sure your neighbors know that you're watching roller derby right now. The whistle goes, and we are watching Misery Lisness trying to get lead jammer. One hand down on the outside boundary means that they are in bounds. But Fish is lead jammer for Mindfox, doing exactly what Mindfox wanted out of this last jam, which is get lead jammer status and score as many points as possible before this jam expires. They are dipping and ducking and hopping and put 4 points up on the board for Mindfox. And the choice there was to call it off, save those 4 points, and prevent any further scoring by standbys. So our unofficial score right now, Mindfox has 104. Standbys are your winner with 127. We will see what the refs say about locking in that score in a moment.
And you'll want to stick around as Regrettal will be announcing our MVPs for this game momentarily.
All right, you folks. I have some MVP awards. I see a skate around. You guys go do that first. Fans can shake hands if you want.